Most stories do not start with a journalist. They start with people. Noticing when a river runs dry, asking why a school is changing, discovering something new next door. Curiosity is human. Your right to keep asking questions is at the heart of NPR's mission, and we are not going anywhere.
Good morning, I'm Lawrence K. Jackson. It's Tuesday, July 14th. One of the largest solar and battery storage projects in the country could land in San Diego's East County. More on that next, but first, the headlines. Expect warm temperatures throughout the week, as well as a chance of thunderstorms in our mountain areas. The National Weather Service says most of the county will be spared from severe level heat, except, you guessed it, our desert areas, of course. Our county's deserts are set to once again reach the triple digits all week, peaking at 108 degrees on Wednesday. Inland areas are expected to land in the mid-70s, upper 80s are expected in our valleys. And it's our mountain areas that the Weather Service says has a chance of thunderstorms accompanied by erratic winds, lightning, or brief but heavy rainfall. NWS also says to be aware of high tides that could create coastal flooding in low-lying areas, beach parking lots, or boardwalks. Later this year, Oceanside City Council is set to decide the fate for a development called Mission Flats. Updated plans have already been unanimously approved by the commission overseeing Oceanside's historic preservation. The Union Tribune says that if approved, the nearly 5-acre site would bring 78 apartments and 10 live-work units to the Mission San Luis Rey Historic District. Mission Flats' 10 live-work units are intended for tenants running a small business. The UT says the 17 Spanish colonial-style buildings would feature historically accurate details like wrought iron accents, arches, a mini courtyard for each apartment, and native plants. If your pet is a pro at striking a pose, then you might want to sign up for the Humane Society's 34th annual photo competition. It kicked off yesterday and is open for all submissions until August 31st. Dog, cat, frog, bird, or rat, it makes no difference, all are eligible. Winners will be determined by popular vote. Each vote costs $1 each, with funds supporting Humane Society's services like medical care, rehabilitation, and rescue efforts. SDHS says winning pets not only will be featured on next year's calendar, but top-ranking entries can also earn prizes like 2 nights at a local resort and tickets to their Fur Ball Gala. You can submit your pet photos or cast a vote in support of another at sdhumane.org/photo contest. From KPBS, you're listening to San Diego News Now. Stay with me for more of the local news you need.
Before a producer hits record or before a journalist picks up a pen, someone like you notices something and wants to understand it. Every day, we invite you to keep asking questions like why and who and how. Because NPR begins with questions, not conclusions. And your right to curiosity is a right worth protecting.
The San Diego County Planning Commission on Friday approved plans for a solar energy and battery storage project in Boulevard that has faced pushback from nearby residents. Reporter Elaine Alfaro says Starlight Solar is one of the latest renewable energy projects planned for East County.
The County Planning Commission unanimously approved Starlight Solar in a 7-0 vote. It's one of the largest solar and battery storage projects in the county. Community members made the hour-plus drive to the County Administration Center building to share their concerns about environmental impacts and fire risks.
We wanted to come out to the rural area so we could be a more quiet environment.
Boulevard resident Gregory Forrest attended the meeting.
And when you take the environment away, you've seen all the dust and stuff that these things happen and stuff. It's not the way it was or gonna be. What we came out there to live out there.
The commissioners greenlit the project as long as the applicant agrees to make certain changes. That includes moving the battery storage systems farther from homes and increasing the developer's monetary contribution to a community benefit fund. Jim Whalen is the land use consultant for the project.
A 7-0 vote is very telling. And if both sides are declaring happiness with the outcome, that's unusual. And, we call that a win-win.
A county spokesperson said the County Board of Supervisors will vote on the project on September 16th. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
Time is running out for more than 1,000 Afghans in a temporary refugee camp in Qatar. The wartime U.S. allies were on the way to relocating in the United States until Donald Trump returned to office. Military and veterans reporter Andrew Dyer says lawmakers heard directly from some of the Afghans this weekend.
Among the 1,100 Afghans living at Camp Asaliya in Qatar are 400 children. San Diego Representative Democrat Scott Peters led a virtual delegation with two other lawmakers on Zoom. An Afghan woman who asked us not to use her name told them her family has been at the camp for a year and 7 months.
My biggest concern is my children. They have not been able to go to school for almost 2 years, and they are falling behind in their education.
A recent State Department report says more than 23,000 Afghans have approved visa applications in process, but this year none were issued. The camp is set to close at the end of September, with no word from the administration where the Afghans will go. The door's not shut for everyone. Since October, the Trump administration has admitted more than 6,000 white South African refugees and plans to admit thousands more. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
According to the city's latest Climate Action Plan annual report, San Diego is falling behind in its progress to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2035. Anchor Debbie Cruz spoke with reporter Andrew Bowen about where the city is making progress and where it's coming up short. She started by asking exactly what the city is tracking in its annual climate report.
So the report is basically an inventory of all the greenhouse gas emissions that were caused by activities in the city of San Diego in 2024, which is the most recent year with complete data. So that includes transportation, which is more than half of total greenhouse gas emissions. So every time you drive a gas-powered vehicle in the city, that is counted. It also includes electricity use when you turn on the lights, and part of that power comes from burning fossil fuels. That is counted, as is natural gas use if you use that for a stove or a water heater. There are small amounts of emissions that come from water, so it's like pumping water from one place to another, wastewater treatment, and landfills. But the three biggest emission sources by far, representing 96% of all emissions, are transportation, electricity, and natural gas.
So what are the big takeaways?
Well, the main takeaway is emissions actually did go down somewhat in 2024 by about 3%, but the emissions are not going down fast enough to actually meet the goals in the city's climate action plan. And just to explain what those goals are, the city has committed to achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2035, so less than 10 years away. And what that means is all of the emissions, every molecule of carbon dioxide that comes out of a tailpipe has to be recaptured somehow, either through the natural environment, plants absorbing carbon dioxide, or technology that does not exist yet. So if the city were on track to reach this goal of net zero emissions by the deadline, emissions should be about 6% lower than where they actually were. So we're facing this widening gap between where we say we want to be with our climate goals and where we actually are.
And what are the areas where San Diego is or isn't making progress on climate change?
So emissions from electricity generation dropped in 2024, and that's due to more renewable energy coming online with solar power, wind projects, things like that. Emissions from natural gas usage also went down only slightly. And, this would happen, say, if you're replacing a gas stove with an electric stove or a gas water heater with an electric one. Where we are not seeing any real progress is in transportation, which, again, is the largest source of emissions. So transportation emissions dropped significantly in 2020. That was the start of the pandemic, but the emissions have stayed flat pretty much since then.
And what about electric vehicles? Are they not helping to decarbonize the city's transportation?
Yes, EVs are definitely helping, and we would be worse off without them, certainly. But while our vehicle fleet in the city is getting cleaner, people are driving more. And that is essentially canceling out all of the savings of greenhouse gases that we got from electrifying cars. So our vehicle miles traveled, which is the term we use to describe how much driving is happening in the city, has gone up each year since 2020. And so all of that extra driving is basically canceling out the progress that we've seen from electric vehicles.
Andrew, what kind of reactions are you hearing to this latest climate action report?
Well, the city has a mobility advisory board. They're, paying close attention to these transportation metrics, and they are concerned about the growth of vehicle travel. If you look into the report's appendices, we also see that there has been a huge drop in the number of bike lanes that are being installed. So in 2021, the work of installing new bike lanes peaked. The city was doing a lot of that. And ever since then, it's dropped very, very significantly. And so if the missing piece to the climate puzzle is giving people real opportunities to get around the city without a car, the Mobility Advisory Board is wondering, well, why is the city pulling back on growing and improving the bike network? I also spoke to a member of the city's Climate Advisory Board, and she says the city could be doing more to encourage the phase out of these natural gas appliances and electrify everything.
That was Metro reporter Andrew Bowen speaking with anchor Debbie Cruz. A new night market kicked off in National City this weekend. Reporter Corey Suzuki says the market brought food vendors, open table Mahjong, and live music to East 8th Street.
The market took place in Old Schoolhouse Square, a small strip mall on the east side of National City. There were dumplings, lumpia, pancit, and skewers of barbecue. Vendors sold perfume and vintage clothes. A band played in the glow of the towering shopping center sign. Jordan Martin was enjoying the atmosphere. She stood in line for lemonade with her cousin. Martin says she recently moved back to San Diego after a stint in Arizona.
I moved in a hurry once I graduated just because I felt like there wasn't anything out here, but coming back to see different things like this, people out in public and fun activities to get into, so it makes it worthwhile to be back.
The market is a collaboration between two local businesses, Tayo, a pop-up tea cafe, and Villa Manila, a Filipino restaurant. Raven Woodley is a co-founder of Tayo.
This area, I will say, is more of an older crowd, so it's also really nice to be able to introduce all of these vendors to people who have seen just so much happen to this area.
Night markets are a staple of many major cities in Asia and are becoming more popular in California. Organizers hope to see this one in National City take off as well. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
That's it for the podcast today. Today's podcast was edited by Tracy Tong and hosted and produced by me, Lawrence K. Jackson. As always, you can find more San Diego news online at kpbs.org. Thanks for listening and have a great day. Watch programs on your schedule with the KPBS Plus streaming service. See new episodes of Nature and Nova, latest news from PBS NewsHour and KPBS Evening Edition, local shows like Ken Kramer's About San Diego. Learn more at kpbs.org/KPBS Plus.